Hockey Nation fans, welcome back to the Hockey Nation live show with Coach Frenchy directly from the booth. And of course, our co-host on the West Coast, California, Michael Devellano. Welcome back, Michael. Happy Friday. Are you ready for a lot of signature? It was a busy day yesterday in NHL a couple of days ago. We have a lot of to talk about, of course.
Yeah, for sure.
And today we have to go with a preview team, and I think you'll always show us right now on the stream. The Calgary Flames going to be our team to talk about where they are really active since the end of the season 2020 by UFA, Mike Strom, and then other players they added the addition, and then yesterday, by the way, a new addition to the roster by playing is it Dominic Simon? I believe it was
the Czech player that played in Pittsburgh the last couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. 700,000 1-year contract. Dominic has always been four line, never go through the expectation, I believe, from the Pens, and then of course they have to go move on that one. He was hurt, if I remember, last season at some point. He'd have some kind of injuries, miss a couple of games, play only 64 games, 7 goals, never been over 10 goals during his career, 22 points this year, 28 the year prior, and 71 game. His best season was honestly in 17-18 with 12 points and 33 games. That most gave him about, almost 28 points average. Played a little bit more last year. TY was about 14 minutes per game. But again, I don't think so. He never reached maybe the way that Pittsburgh was expect. He's already 28 years old. 26 years old is they're talking about he got an injury in April last year and the end of the season in February, and he got an other one to the shoulder surgery in April. So that will make him to be ready for the upcoming season for sure. So that's what happening with him. I don't know if you have any other, put on him, honestly.
No, I'm not sure what to expect there. I mean, I do expect him to be bottom 6, but maybe, he had pretty good points for fourth line guy. Like maybe he can flex up and surprise us. Like they've got room there. I do think Mangiapane, their thinking is their second line winger along with Tkachuk. And I don't dispute that. He's a pretty skilled guy, but I think there's still an opportunity there. I don't know if this is the guy to do it though, Simon, but we'll find out maybe.
I'll just remind you is he was a 137 overall pick in the round 5th on 2015. Like you said, he's from Prague, so he's
a Czech player, right? He's really.
I think he's not. I don't see him really top 6 in any team. I think he'll be maybe a top 9, maybe third line, but more than 4 line. But again, it's the same player is going to compete for a job with Buddy Robinson. And then by the way, they just signed up yesterday, but the day before, I think they signed up. They signed someone also to add to that team. I cannot remember.
From Calgary?
Yeah. I said they would find out, they would join Kim Nordstrom.
Oh, right. That's right. So they've got a couple of depth guys there. I forgot about
the kind of player I'm thinking, like Ronaldo, Robinson, and him, and, Nordstrom. They're going to find that kind of spot.
Probably, yeah.
I think Calgary is doing well right now. It's they add depth on their chart. Like, they have that kind of player, like a low salary, but they can become maybe a solid third line.
Do you want to go through Calgary now, or are you going to go through the signing?
No, I just want to go because he was signed. Dominic Simon was signed over there. But yesterday we finished the day with Jake Verdenen. Honestly, that was the last signature. Since that happening, I have a minor signature from Buffalo Sabre, Casey Nelson, 700-year contract, just resigned as a defenseman, 28 years old. No, he's going to fight for maybe spot number 6. But
I doubt that. Compared to
so I agree with you. But I want to talk about one big signature. Another signature will be a little bit surprised there. But the first one's the big, honestly, from the Dallas Star. We love this kid, and I was surprised, like what I mean, and the patience of the everybody right now because the salary everything happened. But Denis Koreanov signed a 5.1 million dollars 2 years contract at 2.55. Exactly what Jake
I
Verton
was gonna say, so it's
earlier.
something going on there, right? Like the comparables must be each other.
I'll be honest with you. The also the manager, GM, and NHL follow up a framework about salary.
Totally.
2 years, 2.5, 3.5, and go until 5. You know what I mean? And
It's
sometimes
weird.
they only at 6.5. But he's really respect that kind of. You can see what Vertanen got, and you're absolutely right. Almost same age, 23, 24. And I think they are the same quality players, same
Probably.
thing, same role,
I
same
think
thing.
so.
The only thing I would say, I think they should give him a little bit more confidence. And I think that's the same way happened with Vertanen. They didn't give him any chance in the playoff. And the same thing happening with Koreanov about how many times he said every morning, I remember saying, why he play only 13 minutes? Why he did not get more time? Why did he still have 9 goals, right? So
well, at least they gave him a reasonable bridge. I think Guryanov looks like, I mean, he took a while to get here. I know he had injury problems, but he looks like he has upside. Like if you look at him, you don't go, well, he's not going to get any better.
he's a 12 overall pick.
Yeah.
I believe Vertonen was 6 or maybe the same.
Right.
All right, so they are expect first round pick. You know what I mean? Right. I think Koreanov have more upside.
I feel like
he's a big guy, 6'3", 200 pounds. I really believe that guy. He's a kind of player he can score.
I think so too. He feels he's one of those guys where the puck gets on his stick, his motor gets going. He's so big. He's got hands and skill. He can shoot the puck. He's a good forechecker, and you're like, he feels dangerous. Like you're worried when he's on the ice if you're the other team.
Listen, Michael, like how many players in the NHL scored 20 goals last season, right? And would play only 13 minutes per game.
That's crazy.
And I can go same thing with this year for the playoff. He played maybe 25, 24 games.
I really like him. I feel like, I mean, I hope it works out because I don't want to overhype him, but I do believe when I watch him, I get excited. Like he looks really good. Vertanen, maybe, but Vertanen feels more, north-south. Like although he's not bad skill, so maybe he's got upside too.
I really like Vertanen. He's on a progression. If you follow back, he saw, I believe, with 10 goals. After that, he moved up to 15.
Keeps getting a little better.
And now 18 goals, right? Yeah. 10, 15, 18. He go from 20, 25, 36. It's another players. Listen, you have 13 minutes. You have 6 seconds play more per game compared to Koreanov. So that gives you an idea. Wow. They are exactly as you said at the beginning. They are similar. They are same kind of player. Both of them. The only thing I would say, he's 6'1", but hey, the kid is 226.
It's a monster. But that's what he feels like. I feel when I watch him, I think a little bit more Alex Tuck, but he's.
I agree with you. Great. This is great. Similar players. He can be more, and I think the two kids right now should be more involved, like have a bigger role inside their team. That's my point here.
I feel like, and there's room there in Vancouver. Like I can't see Eriksson working out.
Yep.
Is he going to magically come back? You hope so, because he was a very good player for a really long time. But you get an opportunity there because they didn't re-sign Toffoli. So
exactly, and then finally we have a last signature. Defenseman from now signed with the New Jersey Devils. We talked about him yesterday. It was Dmitry Kulinov.
Kulikov. Have you watched him play? Because he was in Florida, right?
1.15 million per year. He's never been or reached the expectation of what the
Maybe
people
that's
was
it.
expected. You remember he was a first round pick, 14
Yeah.
overall from Florida Panthers
Yep.
in 2009. He has I think he started very well, honestly, with
Yeah.
the Panthers. He had, 16, 26, 28 points. And then he got, after he played only 34 games, he got a 10 point. And then, the following 19, 22, 17, 11, 6, and 10. He
And then
really struggled
defensively,
after.
like I don't know if you watched him in Winnipeg, but I was like, this guy's bad defensively.
Yeah. The season he played in Buffalo, he got minus 26. That's the second
Yeah.
time of his career he got minus 26.
Yeah. He was
He's always
exposed
been
there.
he's always been a player play 20 minutes per day,
True.
20 minutes per game. I'm sorry, and but unfortunately, the offensive side where he was bring earlier at his young
Yeah, that's
age,
gone.
never been the way after that. So,
You can forgive that if he's a good defenseman. Like I feel like he was, if you're gonna match up and you would target him. But maybe it's just my perception, but I didn't think he was that great defensively.
here what I think about that signature, Michael. It's another way with New Jersey bring that and they
Oh yeah.
add more and more and more what they did since the beginning with Corey Crawford. You know what I mean? Like they add more players, depth players, experienced players. I think it's a good mix with what they have already inside that team. I think that's a great move about them for the New Jersey. It's not much.
I agree.
One
I
point.
agree. He'll help them for sure. Like I think on defense, if you look, you can see what they're doing. To your point, so they have Will Butcher, who I thought dropped off last year quite a bit. So I'm not sure what he's going to be. PK had a terrible year. It's got to be way better. Ryan Murray should be solid, but he's always had injury problems. Real good skating defenseman, solid defensively. Severson, big shot, big guy, a little bit of a weird skater.
He was on the trade bait for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's good. I like him, but he's not perfect. He's like a little bit smaller than Parayko. He's kind of like not a great lateral skater, so it kind of catches him a little bit. But he can shoot the puck and he's good on the line. The guy that you want to look for there is Ty Smith, and Ty Smith has been, Team Canada, played in the WHL. He is a top end defenseman. Like I project him more as a number 2. But he could be a number 1 depending on, your team, right? And, they got Connor Carrick, so I think bringing Kulikov's a smart bet.
Yeah, I agree with you about that one over there. We'll see what's happening. We have to move on quickly. We have a lot of stuff. This morning we have a 30-minute.
Yeah, sorry.
So let's move on with the big news. It's the news around the NHL, but the Winter Classic in January, and also the All-Star Weekend. It was in the Sunrise in Florida this year, was postponed by the NHL because of the situation of the COVID, but also about what is going to happening with the schedule, everything like that. So it'll be very interesting about what is next and what happening there. And we have to follow up with a manager meeting happening today. Honestly, not in Boca Raton like usually it is in Florida, but they are going to be from online and Zoom, everything like that. So it'll be very interesting. We're going to hear a lot of stuff going on around the league. We're going to go back with some news from the NHL tomorrow and give you the best of the information. It's just a quick move about two quick news before 2 news going on. The Canucks thinking now to resign. And you talked about him yesterday. I'm absolutely agree with you, Michael. Josh Levo. They are thinking they have the Vancouver have 15 forward under contract for next season, but they are still trying to resign Josh Levo. So really interesting about that one over there. The Canucks still have the 24 hours buyout window this weekend. So we'll see what's happening with that one over there. But
24-hour bio weekend with Erickson?
I'm talking about Josh Levo.
Like, sign the guy. He's good. Like, offensively, he produces really a lot of points from the third line. Like, and he's a big guy. Like,
so what happening right now? They already have 15 forward, and because the 24 hours buyout window is this weekend, so maybe I'm going to have a couple of moves over there where about the contract of Louis Eriksson and everything like that. So that's my possible. So I believe if they buy out Eriksson, expect Levo to sign with them. So it'll be something like that. The still not signed up yet the music contract between the other star and Rick Bonus. So we'll see what happening there. They expect they'll be close. They are very close to have an agreement. That one will be but the big news before we move on is Boston Bruins thinking now to move on without Zdeno Chara.
Oh, so he's not going to play?
So he's not. They are thinking maybe he's not going to be back with the Boston Bruins next season, and
he'll retire, right?
I don't know exactly what he wants to do, but they are thinking. They did not mention anything about they're preparing for life without him, so they don't know exactly what is next for Chara. But they are building right now without Chara around. So we'll see everything about this part. But it was two conference interview by Bruce Cassidy yesterday on the ESPN on Boston, and also it's NESN, and also the manager Don Sweeney. So we'll see what happening there. Let's move on. Honestly, I want to be sure we give her time to a good 10-20 minutes from Calgary Flame is the preview team, and we know already, Mike, you're in charge about talking about that all the preview team. You bring a good job, bring our information, and let's move on with the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, so they were pretty big winners, I think, in the free agency period, bringing in Jacob Markstrom. I don't think I saw that happening. I did question whether Vancouver would move on without him or not, but they got him for, was it 6 years times $6 million? Is that right? I think that was correct, and that solves a big hole on their team. So they definitely improved there. They move out Cam Talbot by not re-signing him. David Riddick is more than a capable 30 to 40 game backup. So I think that they definitely improve. So even if they ever have problems with Markstrom with health, then they got a really good guy in the backup. But I think he's much better in that role. They did see TJ Brody move on as he signed in Toronto, but they replaced that spot with the same money with Chris Tanev out of Vancouver. So they really kind of scooped Vancouver with two really key guys. I don't know. I think Vancouver will be fine without them because they re-signed Holtby, or they signed Holtby, and then they of course have Demko, and then they got Schmidt right from Vegas. So I think overall Vancouver's probably okay with that, but this definitely I think helps. Tanev is probably similar level to Brody because Brody's offense is kind of dried up. And then Markstrom's, I think, top 10 goalie in the NHL. On the prospect side, we saw Dylan Dubé really pop through in the playoffs and made that third line with Lucic and Bennett. Very, very dangerous. So Dylan Dubé, a former WHL player. I know he sounds French-Canadian. He might be, but he's definitely a WHL player. I would look out for, they had a really good draft, I thought. The one player in particular was Connor Zary, which is another WHL player. And then last year's first pick to me looks highly skilled, which is Pelche out of the Quebec League. I skipped over this guy a little bit, which is Yuso Valamaki. And Valamaki's another WHL defenseman that was injured last year. And people may not know this name or this player. He's a Finnish defenseman that played in the Canadian Hockey League and the Western League. He is highly skilled. He has very good offense. He's 6'3", and he's very difficult to play against one-on-one. He's currently playing in the Finnish Elite League, and he's over a point a game. Last I checked, he had 2 goals and 6 assists in 7 games. So it'll be really interesting to see. Like, I was kind of projecting him as a 5-6 this year, but long-term, he's definitely a top 3. He may be higher than that. He could be a 2 or a 1 the way it's looking. I'm going to make a special mention to Dustin Wolf, which is our goalie with the Everett Silvertips. He was the 4th last draft pick in the NHL draft when he was drafted by Calgary, and he went back to the WHL last year and just proceeded to continue to rip up the WHL with a sub 2 goals against average and a 936 save percentage, which is similar to his 1.69 goals against average the year before and 41 wins and a 936 save percentage. So Dustin is not a traditional, 6'2", 6'4" goalie, but because he's more like 6 foot. So that was kind of the knock against him, but his numbers and his play, and he's Team USA's goalie, I believe, going forward. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I think Dustin's probably 4 or 5 years away, but they have a real good prospect there. You mentioned Nordstrom and the Simon signing, which are really depth signings. Nordstrom played with Boston last year and Simon with Pittsburgh, but I think those are really good bottom six. So if you look at the lineups, and I haven't included Simon in this, but I think you can see where he's going to fit. So the top line, you've got Goudreau, Monahan, and Lindholm. Lindholm has really blossomed since coming over in the Carolina trade. He's now like a point-a-game player and like a 30-goal scorer. The second line with Tkachuk, Backlund, and they've re-signed Mangiapane as a restricted free agent. He's pretty skilled, and he was producing at a clip that would probably put him at a 20-goal season in a full year. So I think that's what they're targeting right now. And that third line was a really good playoff performance line for them, which was Sam Bennett really produced offensively in the playoffs, which he didn't do in the regular season. But Dylan Dubé was the real story there that stirred that line. He's very fast, he's aggressive, and he's got some offense. And playing with those two guys really seemed to help Lucic, who we know is not a great skater, but is very tough. I don't think he'll ever score 20 goals again, or 30 for that matter. But, he could be kind of that 10, 12-goal guy and really be intimidating. And he can win faceoffs, shockingly. And you can see Derek Ryan is a very, very good fourth-line centerman. Like, he can flex up to the third line. Signing Nordstrom and now signing Simon, you can see that what they're doing by they're filling out that last slot on the fourth line. And then on D, they're very deep, and people may not realize this. They probably have one of the better defenses in the NHL. Mark Giordano, who has won a previous Norris Trophy, he's older, but his skills have not diminished, and his fitness is elite. Like, he is probably one of the fittest players in the NHL, which is saying a lot. Signing Chris Tanev, he can chew up minutes, and he's very good defensively. Noah Hannafin, since he came over from Carolina, I think has been a very good fit. Rasmus Anderson is an underrated right shot defenseman. He's a very, very good number 2, number 3 in my mind. I think he's best at the number 3, but he can flex up a little bit. And he can work on the power play a little bit. Hannafin can too, but we haven't seen a ton of offense from him. But I think the real upside here comes from that, believe it or not, the third pairing, which Oliver Shellington is a Swedish-born player. He's taken a little bit of time, but he's still highly skilled. He can skate really well, and he's got some offense in his game. But he's proven that he's developed his defensive game really well. Yuso Valamaki, who I mentioned before, producing right now, as I mentioned, he's always been a point-a-game player, by the way, in the WHL. He's a big guy. He can skate. He's got a big shot. He can hold the line. He can run a power play. He looks like he's ready. Only reason he didn't play last year was he had a bad injury. He's got 8 points in 7 games in the Finnish Elite League. And then we talked before about the goaltending. I think they have one of the better goaltending tandems now.
Yeah. I think if you see this lineup over there, I think Calgary is missing left wing forward, second line. I think the share maybe not right for on the left side, maybe Lucic and also Andrew the man. Yeah. Now, is it possible he can play? Yes. But to be consistency, to be that kind of scorer, like 30 goal, 25, 30 goal, I'm not sure. I'm not sold. That's my point here.
Yeah, I think he has something to prove. He did have 17 goals in 68 games, and the prior he had 8 in 44. And he's always been an offensive player. He played with the Barrie Colts.
Yeah.
So he was not a high draft pick, but I think that's because he's small. He's 5'10", and he's skilled.
So my point to you is imagine they find a good top left wing there, right? Second one over there.
Yeah, that would make it
down and then bring Lucic on the 4 line, where now that line could be very, the chair would be a little bit better for that team over there. So I think
we might be underestimating Mangiapane, but I've watched him a little bit.
The top 6 Calgary last year did not perform the way this was supposed to perform. That's what happening with them.
I really wonder about. I mean, Monahan had a very poor start, so that was not helpful, and that's not like Monahan, and I think that really hurt them. And then to your point, I don't think Backlund played great. Like Backlund was okay, and I don't know what I almost feel like they need to decide. Like they'll have to see early. Like is Backlund still a second line center?
And then to finish it, I think they should add another defenseman from like 4, 5, or 6.
Really, I would absolutely not do that
because I would not trust again yet. They are not a good ready to play that role of 5 and 6.
I don't think that's true. I think you got a guy that's going to play third or fourth right now in the fifth. Like he's not going anywhere. That guy is not going to
not going anywhere. It's like they still have not how many games he played. He did not play over like 20 games, I believe.
It doesn't matter because if you had saw Zach Werenski, he's probably the same at that same age or better. Like he made the team last year and they were counting on him to be top 4 and there was a reason. Like he's a very high draft pick and he's a very good player.
I think right now the Shellington,
he's playing against men.
Shellington is a solid one, right? I think
I would absolutely not do it.
Shellington is a good one, but I think for security, bring a good experienced players with defensive side, and he were helping Valimaki. Maybe he would not bring enough because after that, they don't have anything.
Play up on the lineup. I think we have to understand how good he is because he's not like an average player that's going to struggle.
But again, if someone hurt over there, who do you have?
That's a good question. Let's look at the depth chart. Yeah, so right now they don't have anyone in the main, so that's probably an issue. So it's probably a good point.
The next one we can do right now is Alex Petrovic, but Petrovic is UFA.
Oh.
You know what I mean? He's the only one really now he can play that role over there.
Did they sign him?
They have a contract 1 year, 700,000.
Oh, that's a very good signing because he would be a perfect guy to be kind of a 6-7 guy that goes
Never
up.
been the way he was supposed, but he was he played well in NHL with Panthers for many years. I don't know that one over there, but
actually that's a good signing. I like that because he's capable of 6, a 5'6". Like you're not too worried about him when he's on the ice. He's not going to give you much else, but.
Exactly. I want to be sure we get that one over there. Is on they add also the goaltender Louis Domingue.
Oh, did they sign him as well? That's weird.
But also, I don't know if you talk about the departure of Travis Harmonic and Eric Gustafsson and DJ Brody. That's 3 regular defensemen for them, and the goalie Cantal. But I think they're missing one there. I agree with you. I think Shellington and Valimaki would be great, but I really believe is a good one. Now, I want to mention about full board.
On forward?
The defenseman full board. He got traded to get somewhere else. What happened with him?
Derek Forbot?
Yeah.
He signed somewhere. Was it Minnesota?
Yeah, I feel like, you know what I mean? Like, I tried to find out what happened.
I thought it was Minnesota.
The
Jets. Winnipeg.
Yeah, there you go. So that's another one left, also the team. But again, I believe for what you mentioned this morning,
maybe they sign a couple guys, but Petrovic's pretty good.
Yeah, on the talking about the salary cap, they have $4 million, 2.585 right now at that moment, but they have to still have one RFA as the defenseman. Honestly, Oliver Carlington.
Oh, Shellington. A sign, yeah.
So I believe he's not going to get more at 1.5.
I think that's what I was thinking. Like he might get more, but I doubt it. Like he hasn't played. I think he'll get like a mil and a 5.
Yeah, 87 game in NHL.
Yeah,
I don't with the structure of everything's going on in NHL. I don't.
Yeah, I doubt it. I think you're right. I think that's a good number for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you about that one over there.
I like him, by the way. I thought he was buried. And I was kind of like, wow, it'd be great. This is the type of guy you target if you're Detroit, because Detroit had such depth problems. He's Swedish. He's a really good skater. And they kept him down, I think, a year extra, which just because of depth, they had so many guys ahead of him. And I think you saw, like, if you look in Stockton, he played 3 games in the AHL. He had 3 goals.
Yeah.
He was like, get me out of here.
Yeah, exactly. So, it'll be interesting to see that. And then their biggest name, they all signed up for 2 years. So they still have a good structure about their salary, but about the longevity of the contract. They are the best player. They have this for them for a couple of years. So that's pretty good for them. I think that's really smart for the manager. Honestly, they have only to buy out Bromer and Michael Stone. Stone never been the defenseman was to expect when he moved from Los Angeles and to go to Bay. By the way, he's from British Columbia, so just mention
he played in the WHL.
Yeah, so just mention that part over there. What I want to talk to you is about a little bit. My concern about this is, Bart, since 2018 and 17, only Valimaki make the NHL right now, 24 game. 16, of course, they got Matthew Kratchuk from 6th overall pick, but they have Dubé now, and one defenseman I did not know, Adam Fox, was drafted by Calgary. Never played for him.
Never.
Honestly, no, he's a Division 1. I think he's coming from Harvard.
Yeah, Fox. He went to Harvard. He's
so.
This is why I was saying before. I'm not a big fan.
The last time.
He never been about that one over there. But the 2015, he got very good draft. Anderson, Shellington, and McGiappenny. You talk about 53, 60, 166. The year after that was not very good with only Sam Bennett at number 4 overall. The year before, they got Sam Monahan, number 6. And after that, it was really poor. So, the best draft pick, it was in 2011 with, they have 1, 2, 3 with Johnny Gaudreau there at 104 with 464 games. So overall, I think Calgary I believe they're going to have a better year this year compared last season.
Pierre, I have to jump, unfortunately. So
sound good. So thanks again, everybody. And
Great job.
Forward to see you. Not tomorrow. I'll be out for tomorrow, but look forward to see you during the weekend at some point. Have an amazing Friday, Michael. Thanks again for everything.
Thanks, Pierre.